episode 30, Positive Wake-Up Call.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
Boom, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, friends, boys, girls, L's and G's and B's and T's and Q's and I's and dots and dashes, and whomever I may have forgotten to, well, I did forget to mention that it's Exercise Friday in the intro. Sorry for that. I couldn't be bothered to re-record the intro part, so welcome to fucking Exercise Friday. And, you're probably totally psyched, I don't know, about what type of exercise we're going to be doing today. And I gave that away in the title pretty much because it is that simple. And today's topic is going to be the positive wake-up call. Now, this episode kind of revolves around a quote by the Dalai Lama, who said that quote, just one positive thought in the morning can change your entire day, unquote. And the thing is, how are we going to get to that positive thought in the morning? And here are a few ideas, actually. When we're going to bed and you want to make sure that you have a good mindset when you go to bed, because a lot of us really go to bed with worries. We go to bed with thoughts about what the next day is going to be and is going to be like, despite the fact that, a lot of that shit you can't really influence. So, what's there to think about? And that's really the foundation for waking up positively in the morning, I believe. And for me, this has been true many years. But then again, I never really had any worries. And of course I did. Sorry to be blatantly lying here. But what I did, mainly in context to the fact that you think about a lot of things, which kind of keep you from falling asleep peacefully and with a positive mindset, is the shit that you've got to be doing the next day, or the crap that's revolving in your head, or that motherfucker of a coworker that you in your pre-sleep dreams are ass raping and beating the shit out of. All of that stuff kind of revolves in your head, keeps you from going to sleep. Now, there are many techniques which will help you sleep faster, which maybe I'll go into next week's exercise, which I also use. But it's mainly about taking a book and writing the stuff that's in your head down. I, for myself, have, probably close to a dozen notebooks scattered around the house, which I use for journaling all day long if I can't be bothered to use my phone to take a note with. These journals are interesting because they're just much better at kind of scribbling shit down and making drawings and pictures while you go along with arrows, and it's something a phone can't really take care of yet. Now, that'll be there sooner than later. Probably the iPad is a good alternative. The iPad just doesn't really have the pocket form factor that you can carry it around all day long. Drawback, I don't know, probably technologically going to be taken care of within a few years. Until then, really take an old physical notebook or journal. If you don't shy the expenses, buy a dedicated journal that you put on your nightstand. And what I have is a really, really, really cool gimmick that I bought off Amazon. It's a pen that's got an LED in front. I know it's poor. You could be taking any bedside table lamp or whatever, but my better half kind of gets pissed when I turn on the light in the middle of the night. With this thing, I can, sneak under the blanket like you did as a juvenile when you wanted to read a book. And then you can simply take down notes because you've got a light in front of the pen. It makes it totally easy. That's how I really do my night jotting of things that keep me awake in that sense. Now that we've got our mind freed up, keep last week's exercise in mind where it was about freeing up brain memory. That's actually one of the things that kind of takes care of that is journaling. You might want to look into that in a bit more detail. And then we're getting to the part where we go to sleep, right? And we sleep, and more likely than not, we're going to have a positive experience sleeping. We have sweet dreams, maybe not. We don't know a lot of times. And then we wake up in the morning, and it's like, yeah, the older you get, at least that's true for me. You've got your achy bones. You probably have to take a piss once a night, but takes you like 40 times. And it gets worse with age. Those of you younger than me, prepare. And at the end of the day, you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, now what? Right? If you look outside, the weather is shitty. It's depressing. You've got all of the crap that's been in your head from the last day, and work is pressuring. And you just wake up into this kind of, damn, where did I leave off yesterday? Okay, the same shit is back today. However, it's how you frame it. And this is where this Dalai Lama quote becomes really, really, really interesting. Now, he mentions that just one positive thought in the morning can change your entire day. And that's true. But for some of us, it's not that easy to frame ourselves into a positive mindset that early in the morning. For myself, I'm on autopilot. If I wake up in the morning, I've been long trained, and it took, like a monkey putting together one of these Russian wooden dolls. It took ages for me to function to a degree where I was capable of getting up and taking my normal route to the coffee machine, turning that on, getting a cigarette, getting my first espresso, and then I was barely functional. I would want to call it that. Snapped out of zombie mode, barely functional. It was like this de-evolutionary theme of any zombie movie. You wake up, you're dead, you kind of have your coffee, cigarette, boom. And until that time, I wasn't able to formulate any thought, not to mention a positive one. It was like routine autopilot, go to the car, the drill. And what happened to me in that context was that I took a trigger and used that as a reminder for myself to have a positive mindset. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the trigger is because, number one, that would make it too easy for you. Number two, it will be very intimate. I don't want to give it away. However, this trigger can be pretty much anything. Now, imagine you've got something that you put on in the morning, like a robe to go to do whatever you do in the morning. Maybe it's a picture in a frame of someone that you hold dear, or something that is of very great importance to you. Maybe it's the picture of a vision that you have for your later life that you want to achieve and work towards. Maybe it's a quote from somebody famous, like this one from the Dalai Lama. It may be that simple. Print it out, get yourself a very obscene picture frame, frame it, hang it on the wall. The first thing you see in the morning is that. Or welcome to the 21st century with your digital assistants, for instance, with your Amazon Echo or whatever device you have a wake-up routine kind of motivating you to get the hell up out of bed with your favorite motivating quote. and repeat, 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 because that will, in essence, turn it into a routine, into a trigger to force you into this positive mindset. Now, whatever anchor you're going to be using, I don't know what it is, what works best for you. Try it out. And that's why I took this episode to a Friday and made an exercise out of it, simply because you're going to have the weekend to experiment, to contemplate what could be a good anchor for you to frame your day positively, and there you go. That's really the content of the exercise, is to find an anchor or to find something for yourself, which is the first thing in the morning you look at, or you are woken up with, or that you feel, or whatever sense, whatever tactile sense or visual sense of yours is triggered first. The first thing you notice, you want to combine that with a, for you, positive picture of a moment or a quote, or, like I said, your digital assistant can remind you to be positive and anchor and trigger that with a quote. And then don't immediately get up and rush out of bed. It's about thinking how lucky you are and how grateful you should be to be alive with, I'm assuming, a certain amount of wealth attached to your name, because more likely than not, you're using electronic hardware worth at least several hundreds of dollars to listen to this podcast to. And that alone makes you a very lucky person. Now, I'm assuming that you are, to a degree, healthy, and I'm assuming that you have food in the fridge, that you can prepare yourself a nice breakfast after you've kind of positively framed the day, and a few other things which will probably be too detailed and too intimate to share. Once you've done that, please give me feedback. If you have further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. The same is for critique and comments that you have for the show. I'm always looking for ways to improve it, so don't be shy, in any case, to write an email to the very best podcast in the world at gmail.com. I bid you, do I bid? I don't know what the English term is. I heard this in a movie the other day. I bid you farewell. No idea. Have a nice weekend. And I hope that I'm going to hear you, that you will hear me again on Monday, when we are going to go for another totally awesome episode. And until then, keep your hands above the blanket. Have a nice weekend. Have fun trying out these methodologies. And I hope that your mornings get more positive as you kind of trigger yourself to be more happy in the morning. In that sense, peace out. Have a nice weekend. See you on Monday.